you get this CS function and they're like, here's your book of business, and you just have to, there's no real guardrails. Like, how did you think about approaching that challenge?
I think where we are at today is much more sophisticated, and the entire life cycle is like really well run, and how we engage at any point of that life cycle is much more standardized. But initially it was just like, it was very reactive, and it was a combination of like, how do we kick off this customer? So we were hyper focused on kind of the kickoff in the first 30 days. And then how do we ensure that, they feel supported as they are experiencing all of this growth? And so a big part of the early motion for CS was the fact that our customers like could add licenses at any given point in time. And so there was like explosive growth happening throughout the year through our like true up model. So a lot of that was just like wrangling, like, where is this growth coming from, and how can we continue to like support and enable these teams that are getting onboarded into Notion at these companies, and kind of like herding cats for a long time of like, what's going on? How are people using it? How can we support? I would say like this was like slightly pre-COVID and during COVID. So we did benefit from that boom quite a bit. So at the time, like we were experiencing like average rates of 170% growth. Like on average, a customer would be renewing for 1.7x what they bought Notion for. And we saw way more than that. We saw 10x growth, So a lot of it is just like very PLG, but like PLG with some sales and CS like superimposed, but letting PLG really run wild and trying to like wrangle what's going on. I think like now over time, where we've gone to is actually like segmenting our customers. So we put them in buckets depending on size and spend. We actually take them through a very thoughtful sales cycle and a thoughtful CS cycle. So I have specialized teams with like digital customer success all the way up to like high touch enterprise customer success. And I can talk more about that. And then we have also gone global. So we have CS teams all over the world, and we have language sub teams as well. Like we have French CSMs in our Dublin office, things like that.
Very, very cool. And yeah, let's actually go a level deeper on like, what is the state of, what are all those different teams at Notion today? How do you think about the structure? Yeah, I'm curious, like, do you have separate CS people versus onboarding people versus support? Like, how does that all sort of play out?
Yeah, I think we've gone through so many different models, and we will probably continue to evolve and go through any other possible model that you can think of, because we like 10x'd in 4 years. And so we kind of like blew past a lot of milestones that maybe some companies kind of like linger for a while. Like we blew past 100 million. We didn't even see it. We're at 200, 300, and so the model had to evolve really quickly, and we kind of just had to like break things down and build them back up constantly. Where we are today, which I think is probably the right place to be, is we have a close account executive and customer success partnership. So the account executive will close a deal, but they will actually stay on that account. So that allows for really seamless transition. And because we still have a very strong land and expand motion, it's really important for the AE to kind of help realize that additional growth throughout the year and be there. The CSM is primarily focused on onboarding and then driving product adoption, utilization, and kind of like all of the use cases that we will co-create to like continue to deliver on value and kind of go department to department at that company for those highly custom use cases. And so we did consider at one point having a separate onboarding function, but we realized that Notion's onboarding is not super technical. Like we're not doing a long data implementation. It's a SaaS tool at the end of the day. And we found that if the CSM is driving the onboarding, they're kind of positioned as that advisor really early on, and there's a lot of trust building that happens. So we do a pretty robust onboarding program that includes a lot of milestones and a lot of data success metrics that need to be hit in the first 90 days. And then we will take that customer through the engagements throughout the entire year, kind of gearing up for the renewal and beyond. That's at a high level. Within that, there's like segmentation as well. So we do have like a digital customer success team that's only tech touch and kind of driving those same touch points, but through email and other digital means. Then we have our like scale team, which is mostly for our startups and SMBs. We have a mid-market team and we have an enterprise team.